where they don't want to have it bent or curved, but I can't imagine that costing way too much to get them redone. But I mean, they might just want to stick with what they've been using forever. I understand, you know, you don't want to change what you guys have been using, but it would save, I think, from eye pokes if they were curved a little bit more. I mean, they're not curved at all. When you get them, they're straight, they're flat. You know, and a lot of fighters, you know, like with myself, I'll work it to try and get it to soften up, you know, after I get my my hands wrapped. You know, you work them, you twist them, you spin them, or, you know, you do all these things, step on them, all those things.
Back a long time ago when, again, with John Owano's gloves, you know, they were always that kind of, you know, flat. And so I would take, and you as the fighter would come up to the table and we would let you try on any size glove you wanted. And you said, yeah, these are good. I would take that pair that you said were good. I would wrap them, put them into a bag, and that night I would take and wrap them up into a ball to try to get them so they would be, so you could move your hands and it would be free and it wouldn't be this flat thing. You know, what they do now is completely different. And that's just times. That's the way it is.
Next question from Casey Fenton, asking for the 57th time, obviously impatient, what is Big John's training background? I want to hear about his powerlifting and martial arts training. I can't be the only one. You're the only one, trust me.
He's totally the only one.
Oh, man.
Oh, listen, my background. I have no background. There you go. It's done. I started boxing because my dad was very afraid that I would not be an athlete. So I started boxing when I was 8 years old. I started doing boxing. I did it with a guy named Al Stankiewicz, Lanky Al Stankiewicz, who ended up being Vitor Belfort's coach. I would go down to the East LA Boys Club and started boxing there and doing stuff, and then started wrestling when I was 9 and did that all the way through until I was 17. And I played sports in high school, obviously. Went to college and then started powerlifting my second year of college, and dropped out of college because I was an idiot. And then kept up with the powerlifting. I got pretty good at that. I got to I did lifts of 802 in the squat, 813 in the deadlift. The best bench I ever got in a competition, I think, was 476. So I could never hit the 500 mark when I was competing. And then stopped doing that so I could become a runner, so I could be on LAPD. And then on LAPD, I started working out again and doing some boxing and stuff, and then ended up with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I started doing Jiu-Jitsu from there. Took me 14 years to get back, something like that. So I was not very good at it, and just kept sparring and doing stuff and just learning. And I was lucky enough that I got to meet a lot of people that got to teach me really good stuff, and I started kickboxing and stuff. But no, I did stupid smoker fights and things like that.
John, how did you like jump the fences and stuff when you were chasing bad guys through the streets of LA?
I ran through fences.
Ah, okay.
You know what he did? He used the radio and called his buddy. That's what cops do, bud. my dad always told me, you can outrun the cops, but you can't outrun the radio. It's like,
yeah, that is true.
You know?
Yeah.
Next question from George G, asking for Josh. What is your perspective of the famous GRE Eddie Bravo Bangkok Ready story about your fight versus Gerald
Need a clear line of sight.
I'm not familiar with the story. I just know that Gerald came in. I knew he was highly touted. I had seen him just recently, like 3 weeks, maybe a month before I fought him. He grappled against Rich Cronkleton, and he had beat Rich Cronkleton. And Rich was one of my training partners. Rich was like, yeah, his guard's really funky and weird, this and that. So he had beat Rich, and then I was expecting him to be a jiu-jitsu guy. I knew he was. I knew he played the rubber guard. But then when he came out to the fight, he had all this Thai shit. I was like, oh, he's gonna stand with me. All right. Fuck, because all we worked that whole camp was takedown defense and get back to my feet. That's all we worked. It was like sprawling, brawling, and just lots of kickboxing. And so that was it. And then when he came out, then we started exchanging some punches, and he became a wrestler real quick, but not a very good one though. And so, but then once I realized he was a great jiu-jitsu guy. He was phenomenal when it came to his attacks. But once you started hitting him, he wasn't the same guy. He was real loose with his legs. His rubber guard wasn't as tight. He had isolated a couple arms on me, but he just, as I started punching him, even if it was a little tiny little rabbit punches, he started loosening up his grip real quick. So that was it. I don't know the story on Bangkok Ready, but he came out like a Thai guy with this head thing and this dress.
He had the Mongol on, man. He had the whole thing, dude.
Yeah, he had the whole thing, and I was like, all right, hey, we guess we standing, but it didn't work out that way. But that's all I know. I don't know the whole story behind it, but it's funny. Next.
All right. Steven asks, Sean O'Malley says he isn't taking any ranked fighters until he gets paid more. Is that a smart strategy?
We already talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Like,
why?
He's smart.
Why
like
is it
John
people
said.
don't realize? Why is it that when you take a look, I want you to think about this. Okay, I can make somebody a house, okay, that is a 10 by 10 house, all right, and it's going to take me a week of effort to do, and I'm going to get paid $10,000. I'm not saying that's the money that Sean's getting, but $10,000 for it. Or I could make somebody a 100 by 100 foot house that's going to take me a year and a half to do, and I get $10,000. That's the concept of what Sean O'Malley is looking at when he's saying, look, for the money that I'm making based upon the contract that I signed from the Dana White Contender Series, I am in a position where I don't want to fight the top ranked guys because I'm not getting paid enough in my opinion. So I'll fight the lesser guys right now.
Come. Vous vedez beaucoup architecture.
Ah, c'est très éclectique, vraiment extraordinaire.
Exactement. Éclectique. C'est génial ça. Que m'a parlé mon ami. À l'époque, Bucarest était le petit Paris. Oui. Allez. Variază e super pasionată.
Now, and I'll fight this contract out, and then I'll ask for what I think I'm worth, and then if you give me that, I'll fight anybody you want. That's what he said. Pretty simple.
Sean, I know you listen to our show because you've said some things about that you don't think I don't like you. I like you, buddy, and I like you even more because you did this. Smart move, well played, good stuff. Okay? I think it's brilliant. Glad you're doing it. Smart move. Next.
All right, next question comes from Jeff Wadey, who asked, Big John, is there a difference in referee stoppages in women fights compared to men's? Should there be?
No, there should not. There should be nothing that is different in you officiating a male fight compared to a female. They are exactly the same. As far as all the fouls are the same. Now, the one people are going to say is, oh, what about getting kicked to the nuts? Yes, you're right. Women don't have nuts, okay? But it's not called a nut shot foul. It's called a groin, okay? You cannot hit the groin, kick the groin in any fashion. And women have a groin the same as a man. So all the rules, all the fouls, everything matches up. And you should be giving women every bit of the same, leeway if that's what you're giving, or you're going to let them go to the same standard as the male. Absolutely, it should be no different.
Might I remind people that, like, when women get kicked there, it fucking hurts them too.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not like it's just, oh, okay, didn't feel it. No, it hurts. It hurts them too.
Yeah.
So, next.
Next question from Adam Troutman, who asks, is it still a draw if the judges score it 29-28, 27-30, and 28-28? Is a majority draw two judges saying it's a draw and that overrides the third judge?
I
have no fucking clue. You started putting numbers in there, I got lost.
Okay, I'll answer your question for you. It would be when you're talking about that's a split draw. Okay, what you just put out, because you said 29-28 one way, right? Dave?
Yep, 29-28, yep.
Towards fighter A, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And then 30-27 towards fighter B?
Yeah, he has it 27-30, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that
20, 30, 27, same thing. Okay. Towards fighter B. So now it comes into the third, and the third judge is saying that it's a draw. So what you have is you have a split, meaning one judge going with one fighter. Doesn't matter that it was how many rounds he gave him. One judge going with another fighter, doesn't matter how many rounds. And one judge saying, oh, I had it even, so we have what's called a split draw. That, you know, you're going to get all kinds of things. When you talk about majority decisions and things like that, you'll get a majority decision when you have one fighter gets, we'll say 30-27 from one judge gets 29-28 from another, and then another judge has it as even, we'll say 28-28. That's a majority decision. Okay? Based upon the majority of the judges went with the one fighter. So there's all kinds of ways when you're looking at judging, unanimous decision, split decision, draws, majority decision, majority draw. You can get a majority draw based upon you get two judges giving draws with one judge giving a winning score to either fighter A or fighter B. There's all kinds of ways. And then you get into technical decisions, technical draws. There's all kinds of things that are part of scoring. And with what you're saying, it doesn't matter that it was 29-28 and 30-27. As far as those scores being different, doesn't matter.
Next question comes from Ghost asking, going into a bar brawl, you can call two fighters in MMA history to have your back. Who do you call?
I'll let you go, Josh.
Oh, man. Two guys to have my back.
That's an invalid target.
Jeez. I would probably take BJ and Kane. I'll probably take those two. The guy, BJ has punching power, man. He's got hard power, and then with Kane, he's just ruthless. And he's got conditioning. He'll fight until everyone's dead. He's got the cardio to go. So, yeah. Obviously, I could have probably picked like bigger guys, but I'm going based on the guys that I know. Yeah, probably. But yeah, those guys.
All right. I'll go with Tank Abbott since he likes doing it. Fun. Tank loved a good fight, so put him in a bar scene. That's a good thing. And then I'll take someone like I'll take a Francis Ngannou since he's got that punching power. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. All he's got to do is he throws one shot, hits one guy, the wind knocks out three.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But if there's one wrestler in that group, he's fucked. Oh, man.
Well, since I had to stop Mark Coleman numerous times from fighting in things, I can tell you right now, Mark Coleman's another good person to put on your side.
Absolutely.
Put the hammer on your side. Kevin Randleman would have been another.
Yeah. I've been out with Coleman in Hawaii a couple times. Woo.
Hello.
Fun times. Fun stories and fun times.
Good man.
Next question comes from Hurrifan C asking, question for both John and Josh, what's more likely to happen? There be a cross-promotion tournament or the UFC expand and have more weight classes?
UFC expands and has more weight classes. This goes back to, man, I'm telling you, Dana learned a lesson when when the UFC wasn't number one. And he was trying, to do everything he could, make things happen. Lorenzo Fertitta worked, and they decided they were going to send some fighters over to Pride, and Pride was going to supposedly send some fighters back. That worked in one direction. And when it's a one-way street, I tell Josh all the time, man, that's a one-way street. That don't fucking work. Okay, It's got to be a two-lane highway. All right, it's got to come both ways. And Dana learned a lesson. Oh, I got screwed. I'm never going to let that happen to me again. And that's why you don't see cross-promotion stuff. And now in the position that he's in with the UFC has done all this marketing, done all these things to become this number one entity within the mixed martial arts world. Why am I going to build up somebody else? That's the way he's looking at it. And it makes sense. I in no way would I ever say he's wrong. Okay? He's not wrong. It makes sense for his business. Why am I going to do that? So the reason we as the nerds of the sport, we want to see it because we want to see the best fights and we want to see matchups that we know that would be great. But just because we want it doesn't mean it's always going to happen. And most times, I will say that the UFC is going to have more weight classes before you see cross promotion.
That's the wrong target.
Yeah, I did with that argument. Next.
There you go.
C Carter 50.
That was the greatest comment you have ever said. Just like, let me make this easy. I ditto that one. Done.
Yeah.
Next question from C Carter 501, who asked, John, what's the biggest shot you've ever taken while trying to stop or end a fight?
I already answered.
Yeah, we've answered that.
Come on.
I
You
haven't.
want me to answer it again?
Yeah, who was
Did
it?
you?
Just
I said Mark Coleman.
he's answered before.
Mark Coleman hit me in the freaking ear and it made my ear fucking puff up. I had to drain my ear. So, that's back when they had bare knuckles and stuff. There was no gloves.
I still have
Alright.
a pair of the gloves that they came out with right after the bare knuckle. They're like
Boxergenics.
yeah, they were
Neoprene?
like neoprene. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a
the
pair in my
Boxergenics.
garage still. I gotta
Yep.
get them framed. Just put them up. All the different gloves I have. The only ones I wasn't able to keep was the
Pride ones.
Pride ones. Fuck, man, they hounded me. I didn't even get out of the fucking ring, and
they
had
won't
someone
pay you.
following me. No,
They won't. I know guys that have taken those and put those in. And you know how Pride used to pay guys, right? And if they didn't get those gloves, those guys went to get paid, and they would say,
Yeah, gloves. I'm like, fuck. Like, yeah, you don't get your check until you get your gloves back. Until we get our
That's
gloves, I was like, fuck, this is horrible.
"That's it, man."
Crazy. All right.
Next question comes from Shushan, who asks, how much of Douglas Lima's decline has been mental? In the Amazon fight, he seemed to accept bottom position and was really doing anything on his feet. I think he meant wasn't doing anything on his feet.
Okay, I'm going to take this in a completely different direction that most people haven't thought of. He beats Rory McDonald. He wins $1 million. Plus, I want to remind people he gets paid a lot of money per fight. So not only did he win $1 million, he won a lot more than that just for his fight purse. I think after that fight, sure, he was motivated to train. He went and fought Gegard, and he knew that if I fight Gegard, all I got to do is make sure I don't get destroyed like Roy did, and I'll be okay because I'm still the champ at 170. I think when he had to go back down in weight, the motivation just wasn't the same. I think it's mental. Like I'm sitting pretty. Let's just say he's won after working his way through that tournament. He probably won $3 million, I think, probably, maybe somewhere around there. Upward, give or take $500,000 or whatever, maybe $1 million. He's sitting fine. I think when people get comfortable, this is what you see. I think he's made plenty of money. He's got a successful gym that he has with his brother, I believe, and they're doing good things. He's a happy man. He's married. He's got beautiful kids. He's very much a family guy. He's one of the most humblest, nicest guys I think I've ever been around. I think he's living a good life right now, and I think that's hard. That's all the hard work has been done. The motivation probably is not the same.
I think that's an astute observation of something that when you look, and it's hard to be motivated when at every little road that your career takes you look for those things to motivate you, and Douglas has had those, and he's had those moments when he won. He had a knee injury going into his fight when he was defending his belt for the first time against Koreshkov, and Koreshkov took him down multiple times, and so when he fought him the second time, he was motivated. He wanted him, and even when he came back and was going to fight in the Grand Prix, because it was the fight with Rory McDonald when he lost. He had that fight.
Yeah.
He had lost the first 2 rounds. He came back and he was damaging Rory, and he takes the next 2 rounds, and you look going into the 5th, you're going, man, this is Douglas Lima's time. And for whatever reason, accepted the bottom and didn't do anything to get himself out from that, and loses the fight, and realized I gave that fight away. And so he comes back into that welterweight that welterweight tournament, and he had motivation. His motivation was to get back at Rory McDonald. He wanted that Rory fight back. He goes, I gave that away. I knew I should have beat him. That was my mistake. I learned something from it. I'm going to show you that I can beat this guy. He was motivated. Exactly what Josh is talking about. He went through that tournament beautifully in all of his fights. And then when he wins it, like Josh says, they give him Gegard. If he doesn't beat him at 185, it'd be nice. He'd like to, but if I don't, you have a safety net.
Yeah.
And when you have a safety net, sometimes that doesn't allow you to be the person that you should be. And we're going to see exactly where Douglas Lima is at in this fight with MVP. Because this is not, he was not having an easy time with MVP in the first one. And this is going to be in London, and this is going to be in, the backyard of, MVP, and all the fans are going to be going for him. Douglas can be by himself, so he better be motivated for this fight, or it's not going to end well either. So we're going to see, but you're right. He's, there has been a difference in his last couple fights. We've all seen it. I think in the Amazov fight, there's times when you're competing against somebody that I can't stop what this person does. You can't sit there and tell everyone, Jesus Christ, man, you seeing this thing? You're in the middle of the fight, and so instead of just going after him and doing what you can do, you're looking for that one moment, that one punch, that one shot that you can land, and it never comes. And you get taken down again, and now you're back in the same position. So we'll see which Douglas Lima comes back in this fight. And it could be, if it's the same thing that we saw in the last one, then it's pretty much time to start to go off into the sunset, because things aren't going to get any better for him. But he's a great fighter. He's been a great person. As Josh says, you can't ask for a nicer person, a better family man. Things he does, he's outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, though, is that with the Amosov fight, when you realize you're kind of losing, you're just kind of in survival mode after that. And like you said, when you had the fallback thing with Gegard, like no one really, I think a lot of people didn't expect him to win. And I don't know if he expected himself to win. He's one of those guys that I feel like he needs to believe in himself. He didn't believe in himself that he could beat Rory, I think, in the first fight. But then in the 5th round, he let it slip away. Going into the second fight, he's like, I know I can beat him now. And he did interviews talking about how, like, absolutely I can beat him. He's like, I made the mistake of not beating him the first time. And it was kind of like one of those things he had talked about past fights. I think it was with Korshkov or somebody else he had fought, saying that he didn't think he could beat him. Then he had to come back and beat the guy 2 more times. So there's been fighters along the way that they have to believe in themselves to begin with, and they have to figure out when they get in there with that fighter, oh man, I could have beat him. And so he seems to be one of those guys. But I'm not going to take too much away from him against the Amosov thing. There's been 26 other people that have tried to beat Amosov, and none of them have succeeded. So I want people to keep that in mind. He's 26-0. I mean, now don't get me wrong. He made it look easy against Douglas Lima. So I want to figure out what's going on with Lima in terms of his mindset. I think once he started getting taken down, I was like, man, I can't stop this takedown. Like you said, he started looking for the one shot, and the one shot never came. And by the end of the thing, the fight was over. So there's a lot of things you can look at. But with the MVP fight, this fight is very interesting to me because MVP was, I wouldn't say he was winning that first fight, but he was making it real hard for Lima.
Yeah.
Up until that kick and that punch. He was making it hard for Lima, and 10 seconds before that, he rocked Lima.
He hurt
Lima. Yeah, he hurt Lima.
Yeah.
And so I think now you're going to see a MVP just take his time, step in, step out, but piece him up and just kind of do what he's doing. Try to just stick and move, and wait for Lima to overcommit, which Lima probably won't. Now, you may end up where he just ended up being touched for 5 rounds, like how he was with Amosov, how he just kept getting taken down. But if that's the way to beat Lima, that's the way to beat Lima. That's what he's going to have to do, because right now, the only thing stopping him from getting a title shot MVP is Douglas Lima. And so he's going to have to do whatever it takes to make sure he doesn't get caught again, or he doesn't get taken down, or he doesn't get smashed by Lima, because Lima should be motivated. If he's not motivated for this fight, then, like you said, it's time maybe to start taking a step back, or maybe take some time off, because he's not super old either.
No.
I want to say he's 34 33, 34, somewhere in there, 34. Anyways, is he not somewhere around there? Anyways, but I think that's a fight. I think this fight will dictate kind of how he moves forward. Next
question from Ben Cooley, who asks, how do you feel about Fedor fighting Tim Johnson in Russia? That seems like a very hard matchup. #Instill.
It's a really hard matchup. I've said this. If you guys listen to our podcast, I don't think you could have picked a worse opponent for him. You know, he's big. He hits hard. He's got good wrestling. Look, people look at Tim Johnson. They go, he's dumpy. He's this and that. But he's got a gas tank. He's a bear. He's got a gas tank, and he hits hard. And he's got wrestling. He gets on top. He's going to smash you. I mean, like, I don't think this is a good fight for Fedor. And how do I feel about it? I actually don't want to see Fedor fight him at all. I want to see Fedor fight someone who's not Tim Johnson. Like, I mean, I didn't want to see him fight Junior Dos Santos or Overeem. I didn't want to see him fight them either, though. I wanted to see him fight somebody else. I don't know who. I can't give you a name, but I don't know. Yeah, anyways, I'm not keen. I'm not too keen on the fight, just to be honest.
Ditto.
Still in my shit. All right, next. Last one.
From...
Oh, two more. Sorry, two more.
Okay. All right. Next one's from Jason Curran, who asked, Josh, how did it feel to stop Nate?